complex history and current tensions. Let's start with the shared history. For centuries, Ukraine and Russia shared a common heritage, tracing back to the ancient state of Kievan Rus. This medieval East Slavic state, born in the 9th century, laid the foundation for the modern-day nations of Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. Under the rule of Prince Vladimir, Kievan Rus adopted Orthodox Christianity, shaping the spiritual identity of its people. The kingdom's capital, Kiev, became a center of learning, art, and culture. The path to division. As the centuries passed, Ukraine and Russia began to diverge. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth dominated Ukraine, while Russia emerged as a distinct nation-state. The 20th century saw Ukraine and Russia entwined in a complex dance of Soviet rule, Nazi occupation, and ultimately independence. The current conflict. Today, Ukraine and Russia are embroiled in a bitter conflict, with Ukraine fighting for its sovereignty and Russia seeking to assert its influence. As tensions escalate, the international community watches with bated breath. The recent drone attack on Moscow, reportedly carried out by Ukraine, marks a significant escalation. In conclusion, the story of Ukraine and Russia is one of shared heritage, divergent paths, and conflicting interests. As the world grapples with the implications of their conflict, it's essential to understand the complex history that has led us to this point. However, today, Ukraine on Tuesday launched its biggest ever drone attack on Moscow and the surrounding region, killing at least 3 employees of a meat warehouse, injuring 17 others, and causing a short shutdown at the Russian capital's 4 airports, Russian officials said. A total of 343 drones were down over Russia, including 91 over Moscow region and 126 over the western region of Kursk, where Ukrainian forces have been pulling back, as well as near the Kursk nuclear power plant, the defense ministry said. The dawn attack unfurled ahead of talks between U.S. and Ukrainian officials in Saudi Arabia on seeking an end of the 3-year war, and as Russian forces try to encircle thousands of Ukrainian soldiers in Kursk. Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin said Tuesday's was the biggest Ukrainian drone attack on the city, which along with the surrounding region has a population of at least 21 million and is one of the biggest metropolitan areas in Europe. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that preventative measures had allowed Moscow and other Russian regions to be defended from the attacks, which he said had hit residential buildings. Kiev has suffered repeated mass strikes from Russia throughout the war and said it was targeted by a ballistic missile and 126 drones on Tuesday. It has tried to hit back against its vastly bigger neighbor with repeated drone raids over the past 2 years. Russia has developed myriad electronic umbrellas over Moscow and key installations, with additional advanced internal layers over strategic buildings and a complex web of air defenses to shoot down drones before they reach the Kremlin in the heart of the capital. Moscow and Kiev have both sought to buy and develop new drones, deploy them in innovative ways, and seek new ways to destroy them, from farmers' shotguns to electronic jamming. Soldiers have reported a visceral fear of drones, and both sides have used macabre footage of fatal strikes in their propaganda, with soldiers shown being blown apart in toilets or running from burning vehicles. Putin, who sought to insulate Moscow from the war, has called Ukrainian attacks on civilian infrastructure such as nuclear power plants terrorism and has vowed a response.